Let's start.
Welcome to DRTSPR show. This is Dr. Tangella Shiva Prasad Reddy alias Dr. TSPR. Namaste, Adab, hello and a warm welcome to Rituraj Phukan-ji from Assam. He is a climate activist, writer, adventurer, and like all of us, senior environmentalist. And that too happening from the areas, low-lying areas of Himalayas. So he knows the importance of how strategic Himalayas are for India. And not only that, for entire world too. And that is why when we were discussing what is happening in India, right from Jammu and Kashmir, Uttarakhand, now Himachal Pradesh is also in a disastrous condition. Now he clearly states, what about Arunachal, Mizoram, Sikkim? They all will fall in line till Assam. And not only that, the third pole is the one, after we say North and South Pole, the third pole countries, what about their fate? So he says this game is bigger than what is happening. And what is happening in Parliament also, he feels very sad that Parliament is not at all discussing anything. Pahalgam, for vote's sake, they discussed, Amit Shah did not resign. Nothing came out. Now, sir, again, special intensive revision in Bihar for the sake of votes and polls. But what about our existence? Biharis or Delhiites, they are not understanding the seriousness of what is happening in Himalayas. That is what he was brooding yesterday. He said, we will discuss third pole, Dr. G. That would be much, much better because these politicians are not at all aware. I'm very sorry, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, Mr. Modi, and the likes of Amit Shah and even Moitra or Banerjee, who also happen to come from the lower ranges of Himalayas. You are not aware of what is happening in Himalayas. Sorry state of affairs. Why don't you discuss in the assemblies there, all Himalayan states, and then the parliament and the entire India should know, because India goes there for Chardham. And now these days, I think Assam also has become a big tourist spot at the cost of existing facilities there. How many floods we have seen in Assam? How even train stations were getting washed away. Is this the development? Infrastructure washed away. People are getting washed away. You have seen, I've shown you the Uttarakashi visuals again. Right from 2013, there is no change. I'll take a forward from him and then I'll start showing you the visuals. Sir, please.
Firstly, thank you once again for having me here. It's been a long time since I last came online on the DRTSPR channels. It's always been a pleasure because you always raise the very pertinent current issues. And right now we are living through very difficult times. The world has been torn apart by so many things that are not going right. We are just 5 years away from the global goals, the SDGs, but we are nowhere near to achieving any of them. And climate change is disrupting a lot of the good work that was been done. We have wars going on. We have people dying from environmental causes, not only in India, but across the world. And a lot of things that should not have happened because the scientists warned us. We had made some progress in 2015 with the Paris Agreement, and later on with different frameworks for conservation of biodiversity, etc. But actual execution on the ground, actual achievements have been very less. Therefore, we are playing with the lives of people, a lot of people in the front lines who have actually not contributed much to the crisis of climate change, biodiversity loss, and pollution. But these are my opening remarks. I'm looking forward to a wonderful conversation with you, sir.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. I'll just try to show you because people should understand what third pole is. So I'm just going to share certain things. Before I share, let me remind you what has happened just recently, a day ago. People are sirening. People are cautioning. Where is the government? भागो रे भागो. Entire village is wiped off. Parliament doesn't discuss. Mr. Phukan, I'm sorry. Sorry, state of affairs.
Well, these are incredible scenes, actually, and we must also admit that this is an extraordinary event uh, of such magnitude. I don't think anybody had any time to actually act. Within seconds, the sludge, the mud, and the water came down on the village. We saw a similar incident in Switzerland on May 28th or 29th. However, the loss of lives there was zero. And that's because there was constant monitoring by the government agencies. There was early warning systems in place, and people were evacuated uh, before the deluge happened, before the avalanche came down. But in this case, I see people running and shouting, and clearly there was no advance warning, and people didn't get time. So, of course, the conditions are different, the situation is different, but somehow I feel that if such an incident could happen without the loss of lives in Switzerland, why do people here in the front lines do not have the same kind of facility, same infrastructure that could at least save lives?
And this also happening after 2 or 3 weeks before. Again, there was an such similar situation in Himachal Pradesh also. They have not learnt. And yesterday I got Mr. Dr. KJ Ramesh, who was very clear. There was flood. What should you say? First, weather bulletin was there prior to all this, and then this avalanche, how it is going to be, that was also there, but they could not evacuate. That is the worst happening, and that too, this is happening after Wayanad last year. And then Amit Shah constituted a special multi-sectoral committee in July itself. So that is why we are asking Amit Shah, will you resign, or will the committee will resign? Who will resign? Will you get back those precious lives? That is a big issue. And then again, and I'm showing you the Himalayan states. I want you to listen.
The Himalayan states in India include Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, Meghalaya, Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland, Tripura, and parts of Assam and West Bengal. These states are part of the larger Indian Himalayan region, IHR, which spans approximately 2,500 kilometers. The IHR is characterized by diverse ecological and cultural landscapes, and it is a region of significant strategic, environmental, and socio-economic importance. The Himalayan states are known for their unique biodiversity, fragile ecosystems, and rich cultural heritage. Here's a more detailed breakdown. 1. Western Himalayas.
Yeah, I just wanted people to understand. You were saying on this, sir. Now we have seen Uttarakhand. Himachal Pradesh is still lurking. Jammu and Kashmir is not far away. What about the fate of Manipur, Sikkim, Meghalaya, Mizoram?
See, the entire Himalayan region, from the Hindu Kush to the Eastern Himalayas, is known as the third pole,
Yeah,
right?
this I'm going
And
to.
the reason it is
I'm bringing that also. I think I'll play this. Then after that, I think you can.
okay. Please go ahead.
Yeah.
So good afternoon, everyone in Scotland and the rest of the United Kingdom. Good evening in Asia. We have quite a few people coming in from Asia today, and welcome to this.
Because it's a big one. I'm just trying to salient.
Suspect, Raj. Hand over to you.
I think I'll just go to straight away. Yeah, I think I'll make them to understand.
The third pole of Earth refers to the Tibetan Plateau and surrounding high mountain region, including the Hindu Kush, Karakoram, and Himalayan mountain ranges. This area contains the largest ice mass outside the polar regions and is a crucial source of freshwater for billions of people in Asia. Key features and significance. 1. Vast ice fields. The third pole is renowned for its extensive glaciers and snowfields, which store a significant amount of frozen water, acting as a natural reservoir. 2. Freshwater source. These ice formations feed major river systems like the Ganges, Indus, and Yangtze, providing water for drinking, irrigation, and other vital uses to over a billion people. 3. Climate regulation. The third pole's cryosphere, ice and snow, plays a crucial role in regulating regional and global climate patterns. 4. Biodiversity hotspot. The region is also a global biodiversity hotspot, harboring a variety of unique ecosystems and species. And 5. Vulnerable ecosystem. It is recognized as one of the most
Yeah, I think you can go ahead, sir. Now it refers to the Tibetan Plateau and surrounding high mountain region, including the Hindu Kush, Karakoram, and Himalayan mountain ranges. This area contains the largest ice mass outside the polar regions and is a crucial source of fresh waters for billions of people in Asia. Sir, please. I just wanted to give the people an insight into third pole.
Well, what the AI overview has not um, really dwelt on is that the world's most populous countries, most human populated countries of India, China, Bangladesh, Pakistan are around this region, which represent at more than 40% of the global population. So this is a very, very important reason in terms of, you know, it's like a cradle of human civilization. We have very, very old civilizations here, and life exists on the riverbanks here because of the abundance of water which flows down from the Himalayan mountains. And that's why the third pole region is also known as the Asian water towers, right? And in the AI overview, it was also told about how fragile these ecosystems are, how it regulates climate, and all these systems, that is what is at stake because of warming and the unplanned development activities. It's a combination of both. And I would say that, many of these places up in Himachal Pradesh or Uttarakhand or Sikkim or Arunachal Pradesh, which are, embrace tourism because, people from India, the rest of India and all over the world have discovered these beautiful places and then want to go there, and the roads have been built. When the roads have been built, they cut down trees, uh, definitely, creating a lot of natural imbalances, destroying the fragile ecology, as it was rightly pointed out. And along with that, the most important driving factor is that the third pole is warming at least twice as fast as the rest of the planet. And therefore, we are seeing changes in rainfall patterns. And a lot of, in the past, the rainfall would be spread over a longer period of time. It will continuously rain for extended periods. Now, we are seeing a lot of rain coming down suddenly at one place, and our infrastructure is not built to deal with such anomalies. Secondly, it creates pressure on the glacial lakes, which cause the outburst and the kind of avalanches that we are seeing. That glacial lake outflow is happening, and it's responsible for many of these accidents that have happened in the last 10, 12 years across the Himalayan region. So yeah, this is one of the most vulnerable, the third pole as a whole. And within the third pole, the Eastern Himalayan region, comprising the east of, eastern parts of Nepal, Bhutan, and the northeast of India, as well as some parts of our neighboring countries, Myanmar and China. This entire region is very, very vulnerable, and it's projected that we will lose about two-thirds of the glaciers by the turn of the century because of the warming. And even if we were to limit warming to the Paris Agreement goal of 1.5, which is unlikely, even then we are going to lose two-thirds of the glaciers. Uh, and if we continue warming like that, we lose 95% of the glaciers. So that means we'll have, more floods, more landslides, more
Yeah, I'll
erosion in
come
the
back to
short
that.
term.
I'll ask you
Yeah.
what will happen if the glaciers start melting such a fast rate. I'll just show this.
Okay.
Unable to.
Are you a parent of a high school student? Does your child want to prepare for JEE and NEET? Then
Just a second, because this is what by 2100, but I just wanted to show this. They're expanding, but I don't think I'm able to get that. I'll just limit it to normal size and then show. When I'm trying to bring it to I think when I'm trying to expand, it's not going beyond that. So I'll just play. Yeah. Yeah, here it is. What caused the imbalance? Rapid warming. Here I wanted you to just share. I'll just show the other part of the video also. So this is what you are trying to refer. Rapid warming. So sustainable water resource management, they say, we don't know how it's going to happen. And as you rightly said, if this continues, scientists estimate that by 2100, these glaciers could be 75% smaller in volume. Already you have seen in Europe what is happening in some countries, including Switzerland. 50% of the glaciers already started to melt. So what does this infer? I need not, I think, show you beyond this, I think. We can straight away
I
go
think
to
what this is referring to is actually the entire Himalayan region, but what I was referring to was particular to the eastern Himalayas, where it is projected that we will lose 95% of the glaciers by the turn of the century. If warming continues at the current rates, and if we are able to limit it to the Paris Agreement goal of 1.5 degree, we still lose two-thirds of the glacier, which means immense pressure on the riverbanks because of increased meltwater flow down the rivers. So we are going to see more erosion, more displacement of people, more floods in the short term. And in the long term, we are going to see water scarcity. Uh, and that is compounded by the fact that there is change in rainfall, number one. China is building a dam upstream on the Brahmaputra, which is number two. And thirdly, people's own perception currently, we are living in a water abundant area, so people do not understand the importance of water conservation or judicious use of water. So a combination of all these factors actually place the entire, Brahmaputra Valley among the most likely places in the world for the third world war, which will be over water, as they say, might happen. So, these are some of the things that I wanted to share about the Eastern Himalayan regions.
And what do you think the main reasons for such a flooding of the entire Himalayan ranges? All Himalayan states are threatened now.
I don't think we can really make a assessment of a overall assessment overall the you know increased rainfall and all that. But what I have been reading is that currently what we are seeing is the monsoon advancement as well as some western disturbance, which is causing immense rainfall in the western part of the Himalayas, including Uttarakhand and Himachal and Jammu and Kashmir as well. Uh, and there are the weather is all interlinked globally, and the warming is driving a lot of changes. There is change in ocean currents because of sea ice loss in the Arctic, and that is affecting the Indian monsoons, or it is disrupting the monsoon progress. These studies have been done by scientists already, and we know the consequences. Uh, However, going beyond the science, there are also a lot of human causes. We are going for rapid development of the mountains. A lot of the people who were the original inhabitants of these mountain towns, like in yesterday when that landslide happened, it took out the main center, the marketplace, right? And that is where most of the original inhabitants, the indigenous communities of that place would have lived. Whereas, as you see on the higher slopes of the mountains, you find a big uh, constructions, big hotels, probably that have been built in recent years, with access roads going up to those structures, which added to the landslides and the avalanche that happened, and to the destruction. So people who did not contribute much to the causes are actually suffering the most in terms of such natural disasters, and these all of these are aggravated by the impacts of climate change.
Impacts of climate change. But don't you think even the locals, indigenous people, should learn that they should survive in the higher slopes, areas of slopes, mountain slopes, rather than coming to the river side and occupying the river FTL we call full time, whatever it is, the riverian side. Before, they never used to survive there. Is this the pattern in entire third pole region in the name of development?
No, I think we cannot really question the wisdom of indigenous communities, because they have lived with nature for all their existence, whether it is in Assam or in Sikkim or in other parts of the Himalayas, or even along the coast or in interior regions. People have always lived sustainably with nature. We It is the pressure of development that is driving the changes in their lifestyles, which is causing many of these accidents. Now, if people had lived in the past along the rivers, there was no problem, right? They had lived very for long periods of time. In fact, the entire world is now looking for ways, looking to learn from indigenous people and local communities about how to live sustainably with nature. But the rapid changes driven by the impacts of climate change is what is causing a lot of these problems. And of course, the basic trigger is the unplanned development activities, or very rapid development with a short-term vision of maximizing profits or maximizing economic gains, rather than looking at how or why it will affect the natural stability of a region. So I think these are decisions that have caused a lot of these accidents to happen.
Yeah, as you rightly said, the indigenous people, with due respects to them, they are the first sufferers when such type of accidents happen. Whether it is Wayanad, only some tourists would have been there at that particular period of time. But it's indigenous people, the locals who are there. If locals are dying in this way, Don't you think there should be a way out for these indigenous people, that they should be made part of any developmental plans for that region? Do you think that is lacking?
Absolutely. I think so. Absolutely. It is lacking. I mean, the indigenous way of life was always very sustainable. Most communities were very locally, they were self-sufficient. They did not need to buy anything. They were not dependent on outside support for a long, long time. And that came to the fore, during COVID, for example, during the lockdown period. It is the people living in the cities and towns in urban areas who were provided with help by the government in the form of weekly rations of vegetables and other food supplies. Whereas people, indigenous people, local communities around the rural areas, they did not need any government help. I mean, they were self-sufficient, right? They were all within the village, they had everything. I mean, that is how every place used to be before the tourists discovered these places. And then hotels came up, infrastructure had to be built to accommodate the tourists. The roads followed, and the road had to be expanded, leading to the cutting of, you know, thousands of trees and the slopes, which made the entire, mountains unstable all over. So I think, it is definitely now the indigenous communities around the, other parts of India where, like, for example, in the Northeast, where development activities are only starting now, they should be aware that, okay, we cannot follow a model of development at all costs. We have to look at the natural stability, the ecological balance of these places before opening up these beautiful places to tourists, because after a few years, we will have the same, we'll face the same consequences as these places in Himachal and Uttarakhand, due to unmitigated over-tourism or over-exploitation of the natural resources.
Even Kiran Rijiju is from your area, but they have devised a separate North-Eastern Development Ministry. What does it constitute? You have locals like you all who understand the nature, but Kiran Rijiju is there. In the name of development, you mean to say that roads, cutting of slopes, trees, now they are facing, this is what we have heard in Uttarakhand and even in Himachal, and every year we are hearing, because they have cut down trees, they have interfered with the soil is caving in, and when it rains heavily, had the trees been there, they would have sucked that water and the water flow would have been reduced. And then adding to that the climate change, the warming of this warming of glaciers also, they are started to melt. Now, how should and what should we do? And why indigenous people should not be protesting now? It is not tourism, whether it is pilgrimage or otherwise tourism, which gives them instant money, but at what cost?
I'm, sure that the interests of the local people should come first and foremost. People who live in the region, they should be made a party to any kind of development decisions. And with the advent of electronic media, social media, now everybody is aware of the dangers. Everybody can see for themselves what could unmitigated development, over exploitative tourism lead to. So with the the benefit of hindsight, with the benefit of knowledge that we have now, I think the communities themselves should be very, very careful about how they want to develop, whether they want to keep embracing the, 10,000-year-old history of their ancestors and live peacefully with nature, or follow the exploitative model of the last 50, 60 years, which is causing all these catastrophes. I think to have representatives for our region in the government is very good, but there has to be a acknowledgement of the differences, the risk, the possibilities, the opportunities that each different place, offers. So it cannot be the same model of development for example, Telangana or Maharashtra, and for Northeast. You have to consider the ecologically fragile nature of our region before, planning for that such activities. At the same time, you also have to factor in the diversity of the indigenous people and local communities. Everybody who lives here, over 100 communities, each one uh, has a different culture and language, and the lives of the community is tied to the biodiversity around them. So these are all people who are always living with nature. We have to respect that, ensure that they have access to the same kind of foods, the same biodiversity that their ancestors had, because this is very important to not just their culture but health and well-being as well. So the development model cannot be the same. Our representatives must realize that when they go to Delhi, and ensure that the communities back home are protected.
Back home are protected, but when tourists start happening, you are giving them different cuisines there in the different restaurants, and that is what is damaging. Because if tourists also go there, be an Italian when you are say what is that say? I keep forgetting. Be a Roman or Italian when you visit. So when you are visiting the northeastern India, why should northeastern India people again go for other dishes rather than serving them the same? So that you are safe with your own indigenous activities there. And the last question is, how about the other countries in the third pole region? Are they also indulging in the same in the name of development, whether it is Nepal or Tajikistan or China, Myanmar, and Pakistan and all?
Unfortunately, the entire third pole region is only now waking up to the grim realities of a shared climate impacted future, right? Historically, we are not on friendly terms with each other, as is evident. And there has been numerous wars between the countries of the third pole region in the past. But the biggest war is against the climatic changes, against the natural consequences of climate changes that is causing already disrupting our lives, and with the impending thought of great loss and loss of human lives in the future, the countries must act together. It is a collective future. I mean, you cannot separate
The collective,
the
but here,
geographical.
because you come from
Yeah.
Assam, third pole, bigger countries, India and China, now on the Brahmaputra and all, the fight, if it goes on, how can you fight the climate changes which are really happening and which will be a destructive phenomena for the entire third pole or Himalayan region? Even neither China or India, no country will be safe. How do you look at this?
Yes, nature does not recognize these geographical boundaries. So, at a certain point of time, perhaps driven by the loss of human lives, not just in India, but also in the other countries, and from the realization that we cannot ignore these warnings from nature, things are only going to get worse. But together, we have an opportunity to act together. So I think the countries of the third pole region have to sit together and start planning for a collective future where we can all together mitigate the threats from such changes.
Yep, wonderful. So let us end here, and I'll have another exclusive on Assam with you because of Assam situation, how China is trying to construct another dam across the Brahmaputra and what the ill effects and the flood mitigation. I think it is very sad there in Assam too. Last year too, we have shown exclusive show. You have been there. It is 1 year since I have hosted you. So we'll come back on the Assam. So thank you very much. And I only hope the people understand, citizens of India understand. Similarly, the citizens of all countries around third pole also will understand that nature has no boundaries, geographical boundaries, as rightly stated by Ritu Phukan-ji. If you don't understand and if you become selfish, it is the precious lives of the people of those regions, those indigenous people will get affected. And in the name of development, roads, cutting of trees and cutting of slopes is really creating a havoc in Indian Himalayan states already. And with that, if you cut down the trees, what is going to happen in the name of floods? You have seen in Wayanad, in southern region, now northeastern region, so vulnerable, so fragile the Himalayas are. So it is catering to 25% of the world, whether it is water or survival. And India is no better if it doesn't protect the Himalayan ranges. Development should be with the indigenous people participation, and any tourism should not be on economic gains at the cost of existence of Himalayan ranges, whether it is the pilgrimage or otherwise, or we say even the border security, you have seen the border security force was stranded in yesterday's Uttarakashi floods. They could not move ahead because the entire roads were washed away. So that is the pitiable condition. Even the security will be hampered if you don't understand that the development of fragile Himalayan hills should be properly understood and expanded to economic gains. Otherwise, for catering some Gujarati entrepreneurs, if you start giving away everything what the natural resources of the entire northeastern region have, that will lead to these avalanches and catastrophe. It will be catastrophic. Thank you very much, sir. Do support DRTSPR channels, Citizens DRTSPR channel, and Environment People
Thank you.
DRTSPR channels. They are all in larger public interest only. Thank you, sir. Jai Hind.
Thank you. Great.